Welcome back, everybody. I am here today with my copy of Aftermath. I have already gone through this box via an unboxing to show you the components inside, but what I have done now is I have finished painting my miniatures and I have completed, at least for now, what I feel like is a pretty good storage system for helping me get the game to the table quickly. And so now I am ready to start my Aftermath campaign, which I have been very excited about here for quite some time, ever since I received the game and just started reading some reviews about it. So before we got started on the campaign, I wanted to just announce that it was coming. It's going to be a premiere on my channel here in a couple days, but I did want to go ahead and show off the kind of storage solution that I have come up with for Aftermath, because I have a lot of videos like that and that's kind of my thing. So again, this is all DIY. Everything can be found at your local like craft store like Michael's or gaming store, more than likely. So, you know, on top obviously is the adventure book and your dials, you know, and your instruction manual. They just kind of lay on top. Then, you know, they provided you with these tuck boxes, which was really nice. And I was thinking, well, why didn't they give us two more? Why do they have this blank space? And, you know, it doesn't seem like there's no legacy elements in this game. I'm not going to open up some envelope and another tuck box is going to be there. So I went out and I had some, you know, deck boxes lying around. These are like the, you know, the oversized ones that'll hold more than 90 cards, so it fills that space completely. And I actually found this one at a local gaming store. I saw it and I was like, oh, I know the perfect game for that to fit in. I know it's not a mouse, but it is a critter riding a toad with a battle axe. So it just thematically really made sense for me. And in here I have, you know, the one divider is separating a few things, but I also have like my, you know, the cards that you will shuffle. I went ahead and sleeved those because they will be shuffled up so easily. Here in the front I have all the, you know, enemy cards. So I have it divided up in here. For now I will probably create some little, you know, cardboard dividers or something if I feel like I really need to be able to access the games quickly. Tucked in here, these are my roaches from Mice and Mystics. I just pulled these out of my Mice and Mystics box and threw them in an extra baggie I had and just tucked them in there. So they're not really going to live here in Aftermath, but while I'm playing the campaign, they are going to live nearby. So the only miniature that I could not fit inside this bead box, which I use in many of my storage devices. I get these at Michael's. They're like $3 a piece. They can be even cheaper if you have a coupon. Was the big cat. And you can see that for most of these miniatures I left the, you know, the gray wash look just on them because I really like that for the post-apocalyptic look game. But you can see on the cat here I just painted his eyes and his tongue and his teeth. So that's all just a kind of a color pop on all the miniatures. He's big enough and chunky enough, I feel like he's not going to get messed up if I just tuck him in there like that. And then I also have my little baggie with my 2 dice and my hostile chip. I probably could throw them in here if I wanted to, but I didn't want to get my paint jobs messed up right off the bat. So right here sitting on top is one of my bead storage boxes. This has all of the rest of my miniatures in it. At least my enemy miniatures. So you can see the big guys here have to be kind of tucked on their sides and placed into a double slot, same with the scorpions. But then everybody else here fits you know, nicely throughout. And here you can just kind of see how I have painted these guys up. I basically, for these little meeklings, I just painted up their bandanas. Again, just to give them a little bit of a pop of color, but keeping that nice wash on present. So here are the geckos. So I painted up all their skin green, but you know, the rest of them, their gun and the back side of them are all still a wash. Since I wanted to keep the wash, these guys are actually really difficult. If I can get them in focus, because they have patchwork outfits, and I tried to make each of the patches a slightly different color. But being that they were already washed, they did take the paint decently well. I used a lot of contrast paints to get through these as quickly as possible, and I had to take a couple passes on a couple of them because the contrast paint just didn't want to stick to the unprimed miniatures. But for the most part, I'm very happy with how these have turned out here. You can see a scorpion. I basically painted up the entire scorpion because there's no one little spot and one piece of clothing on a scorpion that I could paint up. How was this guy in there? And then here are the two evil guys. He's just basically been given his black cloak. And this guy, the biggest one of all, who almost is too big to fit in there. I had a friend of mine who's really good at calligraphy paint the cat soup on there because it was not on the miniature. It's not embossed on the miniature just by itself. I had to add that myself. But so there's my miniatures. These are all the enemy miniatures, and you might be asking, well, where's the heroes? The heroes, and I can't remember if I saw this in a BGG post or where, but the miniatures fit nicely in here. You can see that, at least for now, this tuck box is mostly empty. I guess it's just kind of a standard size, but the hero miniatures here, which this is the main character there on the front of the box, you can see I really only painted up his turquoise color spots and his bag. Some browns and blues. But they fit in here nicely. So for right now, that's where they're living. That way, depending on how I play my characters, and one of the cool things about this game is that I don't need to decide, alright, I'm only going to play with Matthias and Grumple, I think their names are, and through the whole campaign. Essentially what I'm going to have to do is complete the personal mission for each one of these 4 characters to be able to win the game. So there's a huge variety in how many scenarios and I am going to get through in the campaign, but I could play one scenario with these 2, then play with these 2, then turn around with these 2. So if I'm looking ahead at the scenario and determining what strengths or weaknesses, I can play with these characters. Are all interchangeable. They're all going to level up together. Basically everybody levels up as a colony. We don't level up so much each individual character. They can all share items that they find, things like that, which I think is really cool, because I'm always remiss to make my decisions as to who I'm going to start a campaign with, and I always, a lot of times, will go back and replay the entire campaign just to get the experience with the other characters. But this one I'm basically going to be, even though I'll probably only play with 2 at a time, at any one time I could bring 3 in, all 4 in if I'm feeling ambitious, just play with 2. I think you need to play with at least 2 at a time, but it's just really fun that I'm going to be using all 4 of these throughout the process. So the next thing in here are 2 of these little Zen Ben mini American size cards. So these are holding all of my item cards in one, and then the other one here is holding class cards in one half, and then these, I forget what this symbol is, but these fit really nicely. They fit level with what I have picked up here, and this is holding all of my tokens. So I'm actually gonna set this box off to the side here so I can set this down flat. This was actually purchased at the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, where everything is $1. And I know you can order stuff online from them. I don't know how much shipping is, but I found the Dollar Trees are pretty standard across the country, at least in the United States. And what's nice about this is it's flat, so that this combined with my bead box for my miniatures sits at the same height as, you know, these tuck boxes turned on their sides, actually even slightly less. I know you guys can't really see that from there, but essentially I'm creating a flat surface for my adventure book, my 2 kind of boards, and my rule book. Also, what's nice about this is that there was, you know, not a ton of tokens in this game, but there's a huge variety of tokens. So this enabled me to like put all my 2s and my 3s and my 4s separate, and my battery, that needs to go in there, batteries and cockroaches and bees, and but this also isn't very deep, so it's easy to reach in and snag a token out of. I have found that when I use ones that are this deep, and sometimes it's necessary to have one this deep because there's a ton of tokens, that it's hard for me to reach down in there and grab stuff when I get to the bottom, or if there's a die on the very bottom. So again, I found this at the dollar store. It was in the hardware section. It's supposed to be like a screws and nails organizer, or you know, washers or anything like that, but it's supposed to go on your tool bench. So it's in the tools and hardware section at the Dollar Tree, but it works perfect, and it's an absolutely phenomenal price for what it is. Essentially, it's just a very slim down component holder for me for Aftermath. So again, when I've got this just thrown in the bottom, this is just kind of an awkward size and shape. It really just didn't fit into anything. I guess I could throw it into my tuck box there, but I'm not even sure what that's used for. So again, here you can see everything going back into the box. So these fit on the same plane as this box, which is nice. So that sits level. The cat just kind of goes in here upside down so that her tail doesn't stick out and get crunched. And then the dice just kind of get tucked in right there. And that's it. And I can put my things back in wherever I so please. And my adventure book on top, and the lid fits back on perfectly. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There's my storage solution. Again, this is all DIY. If you count the deck box that I purchased for, it's probably $3 or $4, $3.50 maybe. This was probably $3.50, and this was $1. You're looking at under $10, under $10 storage solution. Oh, and these two, these you can get for $1 a piece on Miniature Market. So anytime I order something from Miniature Market, as long as these are in stock, I go ahead and just throw a couple in my cart. That way I don't have to pay for shipping. I don't know what shipping would be because they're super light. It probably wouldn't be anything bad at all, but these are only 99 cents. So literally that brings the grand total up to $9.50. Again, still under $10 for a very nice and tidy DIY system for Aftermath. Again, when I'm getting ready to sit down and play this, I'll just pull one box out, set it off to the side, pull another box out, set it off to the side, pull out my box, whatever boxes I need, and I'm good to go. So for me, that's what it's all about, is making it look nice and neat without spending a ton of money and getting everything to the table quickly. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more storage solutions for games like Aftermath, please consider subscribing to the channel. Again, I will be doing videoing at least the beginning of my playthrough of Aftermath, and so look for that to be a premiere on my channel here very soon. Again, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.